Hi, welcome back to the video series on close reading. Today I'm going to help you find the right passage for your close reading lessons with your elementary students, because finding the right passage for a younger student is difficult. You're a bit like Goldilocks, where you don't want it too easy, but you also don't want it too hard. So I'm going to show you how to find that just right passage for close reading for elementary grades. So how do you know if a passage is just right or not? So I'm going to give you a couple things to look for when you are trying to choose a passage for close reading. So the first thing is the length of the passage. You don't want it to be as short as, say, a decodable reader, but you certainly don't want it to be longer, like a chapter book would be, like a Junie B. Jones book or something like that. So I'm talking about first grade here, so you can obviously increase or decrease the length of the text depending on the grade level that you teach. Ideally, for first grade, you'll want 3 or 4 paragraphs with 2 to 3 sentences for each paragraph. So, more lengthy than you would expect. This may seem like a lot, but when we get to the second tip, you'll understand. Because it needs to be long enough for your students to spend a good bit of time on. You're going to be spending more than one day on this. And so if you get through everything quickly in one day, you're not going to have anything to do for the rest of your close reading lessons. I don't know how many times I tried to teach close reading and I chose a shorter passage only for my kiddos to rush through, and then there was nothing more to do for that passage. So we don't want to rush through and be done. You also need to have enough meat in the passage to discuss several new vocabulary words, new concepts, new phrases they've never heard of, because that's the way you're going to challenge their reading instruction and their learning. Make sure, though, that you're not choosing too much or it will become overwhelming. I'm going to put up 2 passages here. You can kind of see you want something between these 2 ranges. You'll see the top one has less paragraphs than the bottom one, but it's still pretty robust. And you'll see that the bottom one has more paragraphs, but it's all on one page, so your students aren't going to have to flip back and forth. If you start getting into a text that has to go on to the next page, it's too long. When your students flip back and forth, they're going to lose their place. So you're going to want to see, scale it down if it's any longer than the bottom one. Now, a good quality passage has to be above your student's instructional level. And this is number 2. This is tip number 2. Now, I know, after 22 years in the classroom, you're going to have a wide range of abilities in your classroom. I always did. But there's a reason for it to be more difficult. In a few videos from now, I'm going to show you how you'll be doing these close reading lessons together, because I want you to remember, at least for today, close reading is not decoding. Close reading is not independently reading. You are going to save that for whole group or guided reading. So this is not your only reading instruction that you're going to be doing, and you're going to be doing it together to learn new meaning, and you're going to do that even if your students cannot pick up the text and read it independently off the first try. Now, the text is also meant to be above their instructional level because they need to learn to attack harder passages. They're going to need to learn to get meaning from words and phrases they haven't heard before, like I said previously. So when in doubt, choose a more difficult passage for your students to read. It's going to build confidence as well. And make sure you stick around for the remainder of the close reading video series, because I'm going to show you what that's going to look like. Now, number 3, you're going to choose passages that have robust vocabulary and phrases your students have never heard before. You're not going to be challenging them to grow if they know every phrase and every word in that passage. It's just not going to it's not going to improve their critical thinking. It's just going to help them practice reading fluently. So, you just need so much more when you're doing a close reading. So these 3 tips will help you when you're trying to find a good close reading passage. But what if you don't find one? You can always write your own. And if you're not feeling too particularly confident to do that, I'm going to show you how I wrote my own in the next video series. So make sure you subscribe and click that little bell down at the bottom, because then you'll get a notification when that video comes up. So I hope this is helpful. Have a good one.